Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, delivered to you by the great folks at DoorDash.
Ding dong.
You can use promo code CONVODD, capital C, capital D is all one word, CONVODD. That will get you 25% off and free delivery on your first order with the DoorDash app. Does not get much better than that, folks. My name is David Quadrelli. I'm joined, as always, by the man who built the place, Chris Faber. Our technical producer is Alex Allard. This is the Canucks Conversation, and we're here. We're here to talk about some Vancouver Canucks wins, Chris.
Welcome back.
Canucks thank you. I missed the Friday episode. And
How was your weekend? Long weekend?
Well, I'll get to that in a second. The Canucks have won 4 of their last 5. Coming home tomorrow. I was actually a little surprised about how fast this turnaround is because I don't look too far ahead at the schedule, but I looked last night. They play tomorrow. Like they're back on Tuesday, and then it's Thursday, and yeah, they got a lot of games.
I talk about the Canucks, but look at this background here on YouTube. I tell you, what a gorgeous, perfect setting for that cloud, just hanging above it there. Yeah. As I say that, Alex cuts away from it. Thanks,
anyways, you and Harmon did a good job on Friday. It was fantastic. I listened to your guys' episode. It was great. I think one area that you got one of the promo codes wrong.
What's that?
Which is fine. You said ConvoDD, our DoorDash code gets 15% off, 25% off.
25% off.
25% off.
No way.
I say it every episode.
Well,
do you not listen?
No, the only one I'm worried about right now is Zephyr Epic because bam, I got myself another shiny. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Yeah, podcast listeners.
Hitmonchan base set shiny, just a simple graphic, just a simple, well put together card.
You did a pretty good job, actually. Like, people always talk about how it's necessary that I babysit you on this show, but you actually did.
I don't know if everyone's always saying that.
Everyone says. You did a pretty good job last show, I must say. So hats off to you. But I think we kind of glossed over the fact that Harmon said he has an IT YouTube channel that he started as a kid.
That's correct.
That's so Harmon that he was giving tech support on YouTube, like when he was a kid. That's insane.
Well, it doesn't.
We glossed over that. I don't think the effort was there to try and find out where the channel is because he said it's still out there. It's just under a different name. So it's going to be hard to find. But if anybody finds it, please tweet at us.
Yeah, Harmon was good on Friday. I had a really good time with Harmon.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Every Friday now moving forward.
I had a good Friday. I can tell you that.
Yeah, what'd you do on your day off?
Took my day. I'm just kidding. So it's not a day off. I have a bunch of other stuff to do. I'm not going to get into what I did. But there was quite a bit to do around.
Yeah, it's actually really hard to remember doing nothing. That's the thing that I always struggle with too, especially just when you're doing nothing all day. It's hard to remember stuff.
It's just confidential information. This is what happens when you're dust off my shoulders. Senior management.
Yeah, it must be nice, eh?
Senior management, 21 years old.
At least I had a good time with Harm. I think Fridays, I think I have the better situation now from Friday. I get to hang out with Harm, do the show with him. What do you do?
Stay home.
You're by yourself. Girlfriend's at work. You're just sitting there by yourself, staring at the ceiling, counting down the days until Christmas. I don't know. What are you up to?
Although I did go Black Friday shopping on Friday during the show.
Yeah, all that extra monty.
Man, all those sales.
I wish I could do the shopping.
Did you see these Black Friday sales? They sucked.
Yeah.
These aren't the sales that were causing stampedes.
No.
Bring back the stampedes.
I like Boxing Day personally. Yeah,
Boxing Day's got some good stuff, but Black Friday you can clean up and you can get ready for Christmas. Like you can get stuff for Christmas. I'm partial to Lego. I go on the Lego site. They're like Black Friday sale, and they're advertising all these different sets. They're regular price.
Yeah, no, they're not. That's what they get you.
And Lego rarely ever does big sales. I get it. Lego doesn't go on sale, but all of these places, like I went to Mark's Work Warehouse. They had a great, and I shouldn't, no free ads and no slandering potential sponsors one day, but they had a great sale.
Mark's, they don't get back to me. You can talk.
Looked like a fantastic sale in their flyer, and then I go and I pick up a jacket. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty good, and I was like, this is a great jacket. It was on for $69, so that was super nice. And then I go pay, and they're like, oh yeah, so that'll be $172 or whatever. I was like, oh, I got it off the $69 rack, and they were like, oh well, that's nice. I'll try. They were like, I'll go check. So she goes and checks, and then she's like, oh, it's only the black ones. Well, they're sold out of black ones, and then they got 2 black ones left, and they were both XXL. I was like, I'm not.
Well, she should give me a call. No, not for long. I'm moving down to I might be a single XL here pretty quick here.
I was just about to segue and say, speaking of cutting down from XXL, you've been in the gym every day this month, and you've been sending me proof.
day 28 today out of 30. We got 30 days in November. I am on day 28 of going to the gym every single day. So take that, November.
Yeah.
Worst month of the year so far this year for me, I'd have to say, honestly.
Well,
it's been bad.
What about December? Are you going to keep it going in the month? Like, you don't have to go every day, but go at least
I'll
3
keep
times
going.
a week.
I'll keep going. I do like the feeling after the gym, but right now it's at that point at the end of the month. I'm like, I've only got to go 3 more days, so that's nice.
I hear you. Yeah. Okay.
I'll get through it this month. I'll be back out there next month as well.
Okay, that's enough chit chat. Let's get to the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh,
it was a perfect road trip. 3-game road trip, and they did fantastic. Again, we didn't really get a chance to talk about the games, but you have to be impressed with this team right now. And the thing that keeps getting brought up to me, and I've been writing these instant reactions over at Canucks Army, the thing that keeps coming to my mind is I'm watching these games, and obviously you enjoy a win, right? Like it's more fun to cover a winner. It's more fun to watch the team win games.
Yeah, energy's up.
To lose. You know what? Like, more people read the site, more people interact with the chat, more people watch the podcast. Like, yeah, we're not fans per se, but hey, it's good for us when the Canucks are winning games.
Rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, exactly. It's good for us when the Canucks
ship going up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's good. It's good for us when the Canucks win games. Like, also, someone pointed out your shirt on the live show. We should talk about this shirt. I really want to talk about this shirt. It's over at nationgear.ca. The EP40 line.
I tell you, I don't know if it's me in the gym or the fit of the shirt, but it fits nice on me.
It's a good shirt. It's a good shirt.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Fits nice.
Go get your own over at nationgear.ca. We sell those. We've had those for a while. We just haven't advertised them very much.
No, I like the shirts here.
They're there. Go check it out.
Nationgear.ca. Fun EP40. A good time to wear it right now, the way he's playing. We'll get to that. That's our second thing on the little ticker down there once Alex wakes up. But let's keep going on the road trip a little bit. Yeah, I think impressive play throughout from top to bottom. You had the same 18 skaters in the lineup for all 3 of these games, right? I mean, you saw Kyle Burroughs be a player that got into the lineup after the loss. He's looked great in that role, playing on the third pairing there. I think Kyle Burroughs, like, I know this isn't like a big thing, but him defending 2-on-1s, man, I like the way that Kyle Burroughs defends a 2-on-1.
He can move
so well.
He can move.
And when you're playing with Tyler Myers, like, I haven't really thought about this a lot, but maybe that's like the biggest trait that you can have as a defenseman is when you're Tyler Myers' partner. If you're good at defending 2-on-1s, you're probably going to have success because Myers is going to somehow give up a lot of 2-on-1s. Some interesting reads from him over the few games here. But yeah, I mean, Spencer Martin picks up 2 of the wins on that 3-game winning streak throughout the road trip there. And that road trip, that's not easy, right? Like they battled against obviously the defending Stanley Cup champions, the best team in the Pacific Division, and then the San Jose Sharks. So say what you want about them, but these were some tough games, and man, the Canucks came through really good. And you're right, like there's definitely some building confidence here right now. Obviously, what that Pettersson line is doing, we'll talk about that in the next segment here a little bit. But all in all, just good hockey from this team, from top to bottom. I think you're getting some scoring from the back end, some depth scoring, which is interesting too. I think that was great to see as well, because obviously we see the numbers that the top guys are putting up. And at ridiculous rates, obviously, with Patterson, JT Miller on his point streak, all these guys putting up points, even Brock Besser with the points and everything. But I do like what Luke Schenn did on this trip. What just like the guys in the depth, like just chipping in and maybe not putting up a ton of points, but just being involved in winning, right? Like they're maybe not the guys leading your scores every night, like the score sheets, they're not blowing it up, but yeah, just what the depth players did throughout this road trip, I think really helped. And I felt like even watching the game last night against San Jose, second of back-to-backs, I didn't really look at it on the timesheet or anything, but it just felt like to me like the fourth line was eating up a lot of minutes, eating up a lot of time when they were on the ice. And they did that through the first 40 minutes. And then kind of third period, you had to turn it on and play your top guys. But that's the type of situation on a road trip where you're playing 2-2. You got to rely on your fourth line to eat up some minutes. I thought they did a really good job of that last night. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, you brought up Kyle Burroughs in Statsies by Michael Liu on Canucks Army. He had the lowest Corsi percentage of any Canuck, but your eye test helped. Like I was watching that game and I didn't think Kyle Burroughs looked bad. And again, if Riley Stillman's the other option, like I wouldn't be shocked if Riley Stillman gets in for another game, but I think there's enough moments in a game where you see Kyle Burroughs hustle, or you see him, like you said, break up a 2-on-1 where you go, this guy can't be taken out of the lineup. Like, never take this guy out of your lineup. He's somebody that you want around as your seventh defenseman down the line, obviously, but he's somebody you want around this room, right? Like, again, there's a lot of talk of culture, and there's a lot of talk about,
the glue guys there,
the compete level. And that's the main thing that I want to talk about is on this road trip. Like, we've been saying it for a while. When is this team going to come play for Bruce? Right? Like, they say they like him as a coach. They say they like playing for him. And then when these comments are made about structure and, heavily insinuating that Bruce is the problem with this team, the players didn't show up right away. Like, it still wasn't getting done. And then you talk to the players, and I talked to Curtis Lazar. We talked to Luke Shen. There was a few players that came out and said, they were like, it's not systems. Like, it comes down to our hustle. It comes down to winning your board battles. It's in the room. Like, it comes down to us getting the job done. And again, that goes back to roster construction, all that, but we're not going to get into that. My point is, this road trip, the Canucks just kept their foot on the gas. They followed the game plan. They
didn't have that 10-minute lull that Boudreau's talked about in many of these games. Like,
exactly.
There wasn't that lull that really does cost them in these games. I mean, you saw times where the other teams looked great and they were putting up, scoring at will. It felt like a little bit for these strong teams, especially watching Colorado's power play. That was excellent. But I mean, yeah, like, it felt like this team was giving 60-minute efforts, and that's a massive thing that's going to help this team actually win games. So, yeah, I was impressed through and through with the road trip for sure. Alex, we got Alex here now. Alex, can you blow up the road trip stats? I found some really interesting stats over this 3-game stretch, starting with Elias Pettersson. Who did you see this? I tweeted this out a little bit earlier today. Elias Pettersson on the road trip here, 15 shots on net. The second player on the Vancouver Canucks for shots over that 3-game stretch. Bunch of players tied at 6. You got Miller there with 6, Horvat with 6, McCabe with 6. Who else? Sheldon Dries and Tyler Myers, all with 6 shots. But I tell you what, Pettersson, 15 shots over that stretch, and he was excellent. And then you can obviously see Andrei Kuzmenko with the 6 points over those 3 games. There are 3 goals in his efforts as well. Another interesting one for me that popped off the page here, Oliver Ekman-Larsson with 4 primary assists over those last 3 games. These are the players I say, like, if you just get a little bit of a boost from the guys that are playing in the depth of your team offensively, like I'm looking at Ethan Bear goal. That was a huge goal. Kyle Burrows' goal to start the game yesterday. These big plays from these guys in their depth do so much for the team and when you want to just continue to get closer to wins. And I think that was a big part of this. But yeah, I don't know if we want to transition to Patterson just yet, because I think we got the graphic here of this one, Alex, as well. Can I get the Kyle Burrows photo of him? Like, now that he's in the lineup, the Canucks won their last 3. King Kyle, he'd been excellent for the Vancouver Canucks over this stretch. I mean, you can't take this guy out of the lineup. You can't take him out of the lineup. He was excellent over the last 3 games in the role that he was put in, and put the crown on him. King Kyle, he's the king of the dog rating right now too. Almost every game he's up there. Pettersson, I tell you though, the way he's playing of late, Pettersson's starting to push forward as well. So let's
Pettersson's starting to push for, we'll go to EP40 season here. Pettersson's starting to push for the Hart, the Selke, the Ted Lindsay, maybe even the Vezina with his performance in that one game with the net pull.
Getting a second shirt here at Canucks Army the way he's playing.
That's right. Go get your EP40 shirts, nationgear.ca. Elias Pettersson's numbers right now, we have them on the screen, but for the podcast listeners, at the time of recording this, 22 games played, 12 goals, 15 assists. Those are absurd numbers that we're seeing from Elias Pettersson. Hey, credit to JT Miller. JT Miller had a really strong road trip too. And again, like, not to gloss over, Pettersson, we'll talk about it in a sec, but Miller, that pass to Kuzmenko, catching the Sharks sleeping on a line change in overtime, there just was awful in just about every way it could have been. That pass to Andrei Kuzmenko to set up Kuzmenko for the winner, that was unbelievable. That was an unbelievable pass. And Kuzmenko's up to 11 goals on the season now.
I saw the tweet last night, but it's like when JT Miller goes out there for overtime, you're either winning or losing the game in that shift. Like, that's the way it goes. And
the Miller OT experience.
Great pass to set him up there, catch the San Jose Sharks sleeping a little bit. But I tell you what, I got graphics, I got stats. Let's get to some of this Pettersson stuff. Let's get to the Pettersson line scoring rate right now, because you mentioned it. That line right now, the way that they're playing, it's kind of ridiculous to watch what this team is doing right now. Let's get to the first one. This is from Mike Kelly, NHL. Does a lot of work with some of the analytics communities. Some good stuff there from Mike Kelly. There are 49 lines with at least 100 minutes played at 5-on-5. None of them have scored at a higher rate than the Mikheyev, Pettersson, Kuzmenko line in Vancouver. I mean, line is scoring a lot at 5-on-5. You talk about the even strength goals that Pettersson has up to this point in the season. Man, I tell you, it's been damn impressive to see what they're doing, and this line's really starting to click. And I've seen some people ask about this, and it was actually asked to me in the mailbag this week, like, could Brock Besser go to that line? Is that going to be better? And right now, you can't break up this trio.
No.
Like, you can't break up this trio the way they're playing. Something is really working with the way that these 3 players are playing together.
Stéphane Rouget has a write-up right now.
Yeah, me and him were talking today. We're not
Okay.
We're not. We're barely on speaking terms, me and Stefan Roger.
Okay. Really good article by him today, Stefan Roger, over at Canucks Army, and it's about how the Pettersson, Kuzmenko, Mikheyev trio has been the best line in hockey as of late, and right now they are playing like the best line in the NHL. So they top the league in goals for per 60 as a line. It's unbelievable what they're doing right now. Like, they're top of the league by a pretty wide margin. Basically what it comes down to is they're scoring nearly a goal and a half for every 10 minutes that they spend together on the ice, that trio. That's unbelievable. And that's through 132 minutes of a sample size. Second place is the St. Louis Blues with Josh Leivo. Yes, that Josh Leivo, Ryan O'Reilly, and Brandon Saad. And again, they're only averaging 5.89 goals per 60 minutes.
That's the second best line?
That's the second best line. And the Kuzmenko, Pettersson, Mikheyev trio is 6.38 per 60. Jeez, so 5.89 is the second.
Yeah, this was the funny way that Mike Kelly tweeted this out was like goals per 20 minutes. And I was like, well,
that's an
interesting way to approach it, I guess. But
well, it's like us saying, well, the Canucks have won 4 of their last 5. Yeah, don't include 6 or 7 in there. And then 5.8 goals is third with the Florida Panthers line of Tkachuk, Barkov, and Verhaeghe.
Corey also said, I missed this in the chat. The shirt is awesome. It'll come with a free hot dog. Tell you what, I catch you wearing this shirt down at Costco before the game. 5 free hot dogs from me.
Yeah, we really want to start selling these shirts. I think it'd be cool to see them around more.
I love these shirts.
Yeah, they're great shirts. Okay. Sorry,
that
trio. That's okay.
The St. Petersburg line. What do you think about that? I see that in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know. The goals
against... I don't think Mikheyev played for Ska, though.
No, he didn't.
He didn't. He played for that team with the little dog with the pointy nose.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Avangard.
Okay. Anyways,
yeah, like that.
So the line, what makes them so good is, again, not just the goals for per 60, it's also the goals against per 60. There, they rank 26th best in the league, 17th amongst lines that have played at least 100 minutes together. And again, when you consider they're the top offensive line, a lot of those lines ahead of them on the defensive side aren't top offensive lines. So this is what makes them so effective. This is what makes them the best line in hockey right now. Ilya Mikheyev, I believe he was asked by, it was either Patrick Johnson or IMAC, both friends of the show. Sorry if I mixed up who asked it.
PJ, not really a friend of the show. He's texting me all morning.
PJ's a friend of the show. They asked Mikheyev and Kuzmenko about Patterson, and Patrick Johnson has a fantastic write-up right now about Elias Pettersson and kind of that line. He has it up. He wrote it during the road trip when he was getting all those quotes, which was great. And in there, I believe it was in there, Ilya Mikheyev basically called Pettersson the brain of the line. Like, he's our brain. Like, we know where to go because he knows where we're going to be, type thing. Like, that's kind of what Mikheyev was saying, was that Petey's the driving force on that line. And again, you think of line mates that he's had success with. Like, I was looking at it and just like, he was effective with Goldobin and Louis Eriksson when he broke into the league.
Elite.
Like, that was his line mates when he broke into the league. Okay. And then
he's got super similar numbers. Kuzmenko in his start, Goldobin, similar time,
okay,
similar numbers.
We're not doing this again.
No, I'm saying similar numbers as Goldobin was doing when Pettersson broke into the league. So,
okay.
Smart players work well with Pettersson.
They do. And again, this is my point, is that the common factor here is that the Canucks best line, like the lines that have been the best in hockey. And I'm not saying Goldobin, Pettersson,
Don't
and
make
Eriksson.
me get the Goldobin cards out.
I'm not saying Goldobin, Eriksson, and Pettersson was ever the best line in hockey, but Pettersson scored like 10 goals in his first 10 games, playing largely with those guys as his wingers. So my point here is that the Lotto line, which was one of the most effective lines in hockey and was the best line in hockey, I believe, for a good 2 or 3 months during the 2019-20 season, they were the best line in hockey. And now you've got this line, which right now is playing like the best line in hockey. The common factor here is Elias Pettersson's playing really well. Yeah, and he's playing with a lot of confidence. And again, that's what leads to this two-way success. Like, you get people who, maybe don't watch the Canucks as much, think that this is what the idea that JT Miller was the center on the Lotto line. That's not how it worked. JT Miller took the faceoffs and then they switched immediately when it came to playing defense. Like, Pettersson took the defensive responsibilities of a center in that year. So again, it's not like this two-way play from Pettersson is just falling out of nowhere. Like, people have been talking and writing about this for a long time. The difference now is that he's playing against top lines, and it looks like he's going to be doing it consistently now. And again, like, I know the top line thing has only happened with the past 3 or 4 games. I've been impressed with that, but you watch this line play, and you have to think that this line's success is going to stay even in this top matchup role.
Yeah, Alex, maybe you can pull this one up, the Pettersson line stats, just watching what these players are doing together. The interesting thing for me is, and I think this comes a lot from, not this one, Alex, the other one. Come on, Alex. The other one with the Pettersson line together.
Nice.
I just think the interesting part, and yeah, not a great looking graphic here from my end, so I'll take the L on that one. But the note that I wanted to bring up was the high danger shot attempts with this line. Right now, clicking at, I got to zoom in here, 63.93% of the high danger shot attempts are being controlled by that line. I mean, they are putting up, you're making it worse, Alex. Jeez.
Anyway, don't be mean to Alex. He controls everything.
He's got me again there. But no, I think that's the impressive thing for me is how much this line is doing a good job of getting to the net. And I remember we showed the Pettersson shot chart last week on the show, and how he's really shooting from all over the ice, right? It's not just one spot where he's getting his shots off. He's getting it from all over on the ice. I bet, like, and I'm going to have to look at this in the next, basically after the show finishes now, because I have to see. I'm very curious to see where the shots are coming from Kuzmenko and Mikheyev at 5-on-5, because if you see so many of these high danger shot attempts, to me, it's like Mikheyev's getting a lot from the slot. Kuzmenko's getting a lot from that left side of the net. And I feel like this is without even looking at where they're actually coming from. This is just like what I feel like. And I think a lot of that is coming from Pettersson's work at beating a player in the offensive zone and then creating a really good passing lane to set up for a high danger shot. And that's why this line is not only listen, they've been really good together. I think like their on ice shooting percentage is like at 18%. So that's not going to stay there. But at the same time, I don't think that it's just relying on these long shots, getting lucky and beating goaltenders. I really think a lot of this is coming from the process of getting to the dirty areas. And this is a trio that's working together really well at that, and also creating some stuff on the odd man rushes as well. Like this is a lot of fun to watch. And I don't think you can break this trio up right now. I will be interested to see what happens with Brock Boeser and potentially getting back on the Horvat and Miller line, because they weren't that great to start the season. But I also think JT Miller wasn't as great to start the season. So I'm curious to see what happens with Brock Boeser moving forward there. And the other thing with lineup combinations, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this before we get to the poll here. Is Podkolzin getting in anytime soon? What's going on there? I mean, he's 3 games now, has not been in the lineup. I mentioned it, 3-game win streak. You don't want to really change so much of what's going on there. You also don't want Podkolzin sitting for a very long time either. So I'm curious to see what happens, which player might come out.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen, like, I think Höglander has been, he's at his moments where he fits in on that top line, or not really top line anymore, but when he fits in on that line with Horvat and Miller, he's also had some moments where he doesn't really fit in well. And I'm curious to see what Podkolzin might look like in that spot. I think that might be the spot where he comes in, which is crazy to think that he goes in, out of the lineup one night, but then playing in one of the top 6 lines the next night so easily. But that's kind of the versatility the Canucks have with this lineup. I think that's the spot where Podkolzin might come in here soon, because I don't think Höglander's been, like, he's been fine at times, but I also don't think he fits extremely well with that duo there.
I think Podkolzin would fit.
I think he would too. Another big body to, but the thing is, Podkolzin just hasn't had it this year with some of his shot attempt. Like, his shot hasn't been there. His playmaking hasn't really been there. It's definitely been a down start to the season for Podkolzin, which is fortunate, man. We talked about this on the show, how high were our expectations for him coming into the year, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like Cody Severson threw out in the stand sheets last night. Did a great job on the stand sheets.
Yeah, I muted him in the chat.
The line was best with apologies to Chris Faber. And he basically said, like, Faber didn't track KHL Corsi to watch Podkolzin sit for 4 straight games.
No, I know, I read it.
And he,
you know what else I read in the stand? Well, we're talking about the stand sheets there last night. I send Cody this. I put all this work in. I got the dog. I send the whole thing down, and all he does is talk about the dog rating.
And
he doesn't even include one. And what do I see in the comments? Where's the dog rating? Where's the dog rating? Where's the dog rating?
Did people really want the dog rating?
Fire Severson was trending on Canucks Army last night. It was unbelievable is what it was.
I'm pretty sure people really liked the stand sheets that he wrote last night. People have been getting mad at Wyatt. I'm not sure if it's a bunch of his old editors making burner accounts.
You pick and choose the comments you saw. What did I see yesterday? A lack of people weren't happy about the dog rating.
People were mad that Wyatt has a high word count. And it's not just me who wants less work to do.
Yeah, those are all your burner ones in there.
No, they're not. I don't mind editing the long stand sheets. Sometimes I'm just like, man, how does Wyatt get 4,000 words in here? Because
in a 2-1 game.
Yeah, 2-1 game and it's 4,000 words. It works though. It works.
I got a big, huge prospects report because it's a Monday one. So we have lots of time to talk tomorrow.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. One thing that I wanted to put on the radar so that we don't forget it and the listeners can hold us accountable if we gloss over it if the team keeps winning. Something to consider. How does the team starting to win games and how does the team starting to win games affect them with their trade deadline approach? How does it affect what's going on with Bo Horvat? Bo Horvat's still scoring goals.
Yeah, everyone's talking about this, though. Let's get to some.
I know I'm saying everybody's talking about it, and we're not going to talk about it today, but I'm putting it on the radar, and I'm not letting people think that we forgot, and we're just like, oh, they're winning. It's great. They're going to make the playoffs now, which they might. We'll talk about it because, hey, don't look now. They're in a better spot right now than they were when all those changes were made last year and they got the Bruce bump. And right now it feels like they're getting their own little Bruce bump right now, but it's not a Bruce bump. It's just them trying. And again, like we said it when it happened, but I can't reiterate this enough. Bruce didn't deserve everything he's been through this year from the outside noise. Well, the inside noise, I guess you could call it. But Bruce didn't deserve to have his systems and all that stuff questioned by media and stuff. And I'm not criticizing the media. I'm saying, we have to ask him about that, obviously. And players talking about structure and stuff. Like, the players said it the whole time that it was about them figuring it out. And I know they don't want to throw their coach that they like under the bus, but like it looks like they're starting to figure it out. And I don't know if you can see it. I don't see a huge change in systems or anything that's led to this or a change in structure. Like the players are just trying harder, it looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I just
keep on. I think you're getting some strong play from your top players. I think you're getting a little bit of depth adding in. You're still lacking the goaltending. So, I mean, like, special teams is starting to click a little bit too, right? Like the penalty kill is not letting them down. Remember how much JT Miller talked about how this team wouldn't be that bad if their penalty kill could do anything at the start of the season last year? They make the playoffs if they, if everything goes that way, if their penalty kill started to pick it up. But again, they're sitting at like, well, last time I checked, like 67% or something like that on the penalty kill. You can't do that and be a playoff team, no matter how good you are. Bruce looking over my shoulder again here on the old YouTube here.
I love that we're like, Bruce didn't deserve that, and Bruce just was pissed at you last week. I love that.
Oh yeah, he wasn't happy with me.
That's funny. Anyway, okay.
I think we're cool. We're cool.
No, he wasn't actually pissed. It was just really funny that he kind of snapped.
He gave me the stare though too.
He was frustrated. He was just frustrated. He wasn't mad at you.
Not that stare, Alex. The worst one. We got to get Alex the other screenshot.
Okay, before your prospects report, Atlas
poll
Goods
question
poll
too.
question.
Yeah, get that.
Okay, our poll question brought to you by the great folks at Atlas Goods. Go to atlasgds.com. Use promo code CC15 for 15% off your first order of pop rinds. These are the best fresh pork rinds straight from your microwave or air fryer. Low carb, high protein. What more can you want, folks? Check it out. atlasgds.com. Locally owned and operated company. Our poll question today: who will finish the season as the team's leader in goals? Let's see what Alex goes with here.
I know where Alex is going. I can feel his vibe through the screen here.
Our options are Bo Horvat, Elias Pettersson, Kuzmenko /Miller/other, and as always, I'm angry. Now, I went with Elias Pettersson personally, and that was Alex. The popular vote. Alex went with Bo Horvat, 36%. Elias Pettersson picking up 55% of the vote. Andre Kuzmenko Miller/other picking up 4.7. Angry picking up 4.7 as well. Where are you going with this? I'm saying Elias Pettersson because partially, I still think Bo Horvat might get traded.
I think that's what, and then I quote tweeted that and said the same thing. I was like, are people voting for Pettersson because they think he's going to surpass Horvat, or are people voting because they think that Horvat's going to be gone? And yeah, I tell you what, the way Horvat's trending, it is going to be very difficult to keep this guy. I mean, this is a conversation I want to save for another day, but I want to answer this question with the thought that both these players and all these players on the roster are here to the end of the season. I think it's Bo Horvat, man. I don't think Pettersson's going to catch Horvat if he stays the whole season. I just think Bo Horvat's scoring at such a ridiculous rate, and it's not like he's slowing down either. He's continually scoring, and I also think that he's not picking up a lot of garbage goals right now. He's scoring like almost every goal that Horvat scored this year is like, when the team's down by 1 or up by 1 and needs a little insurance goal or the game tie, the game winners. Like, Horvat's scoring a lot of huge goals, not really putting up a lot of empty net goals at this point in the season. I just think that he's going to be hard to catch. I can see Horvat touching 40 this year for goals. I mean, 35 plus feels like you're making a conservative guess at this point, honestly. Like he's getting 30. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You're talking 35 plus, 40 plus at some point. Like, man, this guy's going to get paid in free agency, so maybe he isn't here at the end of the season. But at the end of the year, I think he finishes with the most goals out of everyone who's on this roster right now. I don't think, and tell you what, Pettersson's been great. He hasn't really clicked on the power play just yet, but what he's doing at 5-on-5 is also ridiculous too. So both these players, I think, are going to have pretty strong seasons, and Pettersson's really turning it on right now. But I feel like Horvat's had it, he's been revving his engine this whole season. Pettersson's really starting to do it over the past few games here, but interesting run right now. And I think it's a good poll question. Another good poll question there that I put together. I'm shocked that Alex isn't angry. I thought he was going to be angry for sure.
Yeah, so check out atlasgds.com, our friends over at Atlas Goods. I think across the board, Bo Horvat's probably finishing with more goals. Like, I don't think Bo Horvat's scoring touch is going to go away when he joins a new team, because I think whatever team acquires him is going to...
They're going to know what to do with him.
Know exactly what to do with him, because it's been a very good example made in Vancouver of what to do with him. But, like, part of you is just like, man, JT Miller's still putting up points, so if they hadn't extended him, there'd be interest. You probably wouldn't get as much as you're going to get for Bo Horvat. But again, that's because Bo Horvat doesn't have a big extension attached to him. It's a tough situation, because you look at it and you're like, you don't want to lose the captain of your team, right? You don't trade your captain when he's, leading the league in goals or really close to it. Jason Robertson's just on one in Dallas this year. But it is just an unfortunate situation, is what I keep coming back to, is like, yeah, they've kind of put themselves in this position, and they'd have to get creative in order to somehow flip Miller and, keep Horvat. But again, like, Miller right now is building up his stock, right? Like, you at least look at it that way, right? Like,
yeah. What is
the other
90
thing,
point streak or something for him right now?
The other thing, and I'm going to throw this out there. When Elias Pettersson's contract expires, he has a $10.5 million qualifying offer. And the Canucks are happily going to sign that. He's going to get paid more than that, I think. Like, Pettersson's not coming in under 10, I don't think, on his next contract. When the cap is up or about to go up by about 10 million, I don't think P's coming in under 10.
Ooh, I don't think so either, but I think he's in the 10 area.
Sure.
But right now, anyways, you see what he keeps doing, though.
Sure. Yeah. Again, consistency has always been the name of the game for him, right? And again, just throwing it out there that 10.5 is the qualifying offer number.
Yeah.
Clear the books now. Figure it out.
There. Yeah, that is the tough thing to imagine. Like, I think the worry is, like, what happens with the future of Pettersson. Like, he's going to have to see some sort of direction from this team. And I think that's why, like, looking into, the Horvat trade option and certain other options with these players, like, you wonder what the goal of the Canucks is moving forward here with their direction. I think that means a lot to Pettersson too. So, if for him in his situation that he's been in, just getting on the one bubble playoff run, like, Pettersson can't really deep down, like, believe that this is the core that he thinks gives him the best chance of winning Stanley Cups down the road, right? So it will be interesting to see everything moving forward with Pettersson, his contract, and obviously, I think he's going over 10 mil if he keeps playing at this rate, which is funny because, think about how slow he started last year, right? And everyone was like, oh, like, this $3 million thing might turn out good for the Canucks, and it's like, or it's a 3-year deal. It's going to turn out good for the Canucks, and yeah, clearly you're looking and you're like, man, it would have been nice to lock him up for 8 years at $8.5 to $9.5 million, because you'd be laughing pretty hard right now.
No kidding. Like, and we've talked about it since it was signed, right? Like, we've been talking about it for a while. Anyways, okay, your prospects report. Go ahead.
All right,
Alex, get the sleeper cam ready.
No, but Alex, don't zoom in on me here, Alex, because I bit my lip. Did
you see that?
There's a crow coming in.
Crow just like almost hit the window. Can't see him on the camera. But
don't be zooming in on my face here, Alex. I bit my lip in my sleep and it looks disgusting. So yeah, keep me out here.
Oh yeah.
Just bring my face up on this for the prospect report, please, Alex. You can bring me right up here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I got a big old list of stuff to get through here on the prospects report. Let me clear my throat. I'm gonna have a quick little sip of energy. We got the Sour Patch Red Berry today. Can't see it on the screen there.
I don't think Alex cares very much.
No, it's fine. See, I told you Alex is angry. Okay, too big, Alex. Too big.
For the podcast listeners, Alex has made the Vancouver backdrop. Our camera 3 has Faber's background.
This is beautiful, actually. I kind of like this, but no, you can see my lip. I got to cover it with the mic. It looks disgusting. I bit right through it, and it's all, it looks gross. I told you, Alex, yeah, bring me out here. The people don't want to see this.
Okay. Enough with the camera tricks. Go ahead and give your prospect report. Let's go.
Oh, let me catch my breath a little bit. This is a big one. All right. Jonathan Lekaremaki. What did I say about him last week? Or no, I didn't say. It happened over the weekend. Got a head injury. Early indications sound like it could be a concussion, but I haven't followed up. I'll follow up in the next 24 hours here and find out for him. But he's got a new coach. Djurgårdens, they fired their coach over there in the Allsvenskan League. What do you think about that, Quads? A little drama over there in Sweden.
Drama. We're paying attention to it.
So they got a one of the former national team coaches. He's now coaching the team, so a little bit interesting. And this guy apparently likes to. I was asking some people who follow the SHL and Swedish hockey closer than I do, so he likes to play the young players. Be interesting to see what happens with Karamäki here. Hugo Gabrielson, remember him? Defenseman. He's back from shoulder surgery. He's back on the ice. He actually started playing on November 16th. I just haven't noticed because he hasn't put up a point yet in Allsvenskan, but he's playing. So he's a couple weeks into being back in the lineup. 2 minutes and 20 seconds for Elias Pettersson, the DPD over there on Saturday in the SHL. 6 shots for Philip Johansson in an SHL game on Saturday. 19 minutes and 25 seconds of ice time. Victor Persson, he had his 3rd assist of the Liga season on Friday. So it's nice to see Patterson. He's not playing a lot of minutes over there, the right shot D, but he's at least he's like playing in a pretty good league and getting an opportunity to be in the lineup and play a decent amount. I think he's still sitting around like 10 minutes of ice time per night. Who else we got here? Aiden McDonough. Big weekend for him. 2 goals and 1 assist in a 4-6 loss to the West Michigan Mustangs, who they've been a good team over there, West Michigan. They got some players, some NCAA free agents. If I ever get a chance to write this article, I've got a good article about top free agents from the NCAA. But McDonough, he is now 5th in the NCAA for points, 21 points in 14 games. Jackson Dorrington, he's on a 2-game point streak as well, so good for the defenseman over there, the 6th-round pick for the Canucks in the most recent draft. Pointless weekend for Connor Lockhart. I mean, he played, but he didn't have a point. 8-2 loss to Oshawa and a 3-2 win over the Ottawa 67s. Kirill Kudryavtsev, 2 assists and a 10-6 loss against Hamilton. These scores in the OHL over the weekend, people might have seen this popping around if you're on hockey Twitter, all that stuff. There's that sickness. Remember, it went through Connor Lockhart's team a few weeks ago. It's crushing the OHL right now. There are teams that are missing their whole defense core, whole forward group. You got, coaches' kids are hopping in the lineup. If you're E-Bug goalies, they're playing forward. Everything's all over the map right now. I think the other day I saw Michigan, the university, Michigan Wolverines. They had their 3rd-string goalie playing forward the other day.
I saw that.
That was pretty fun. Danila Klimovich, he was a healthy scratch on Friday. That's his 4th healthy scratch of the season. Not a good look, but he did have an assist on Sunday against the Wranglers from Calgary. So Klimovich, nice to see him get back in the lineup and put up a point as well, 5-on-5 point. Good to see for Klimovich. Anyway, he earned it. He worked hard on that assist. He banged around in the corner a little bit, came out with the puck, set it up, secondary assist, but he worked for it. Which is good to see. Silovs in Sunday's game. I tell you what, where's Silovs stock going? Down. Koskenbo, he's going up. Silovs, 37 saves on 41 shots and an OT loss on Sunday. Delia's getting a lot of starts out there now. It's for quads. I don't know what's going on. We got Jeremy Colleton coming up next week on the show. Got to have a talk with him about what the heck's going on out there. Koskenbo, he's the 3rd goalie for Harvard, but I tell you what, he got so much talent, you don't even need to play him. That's the thing about Koskenbo. He's so good, you want to save him for playoff time with Koskenbo and Harvard there. So that's what I got. Yep.
Okay. I want to quickly get this in.
Big weekend there on prospects, I tell you.
We talked a lot about that trio, but we got to give some love to Ilya Mikheyev, I think. Okay. I think Ilya Mikheyev's been fantastic. 13 points through 19 games, 6 goals, 7 assists. For a guy you signed, and again, relatively low cap it for that production. He's basically doing what people thought and what analytics people think Connor Garland's doing for this team. That's not a shot at actual analytics people. That's just a little inside joke.
Yeah, you don't like your analytics. I know you don't.
Well, some of our friends really like Connor Garland, and we always try to poke a little bit of fun at them.
I tell you, Connor Garland, you should be making 10 plus, 13 plus.
13 and a half was what the analytic model said that he should be paid.
Jeez.
Anyways, we're not going to get into that. My point is Ilya Mikheyev is playing pretty well right now. 6 goals, 7 assists through 19 games. That is good production. From a guy not making that much money.
His speed is hard to cover, right? That's the hard thing to do with him. He's got that speed, and it's something that it's at the level where it's game breaking, right? And you combine that with, like you said, with whatever, not friend of the show, PJ said when he's talking and he said he's the brain of the line.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean you put the brains with the speed.
And hey, like
you got Kuzmenko doing his thing. That's a good little combination you got. There's a lot of fun on that trio.
Mikheyev, we talked about when he signed here, his two-way game, his penalty killing ability, but especially the two-way game, we talked about how, he's going to be a really good two-way winger. He's been that for this line. Like, again, Andrei Kuzmenko's two-way game is getting better. He's learning the NHL a little bit better, but it's not as great as Pettersson. It's not as great as Mikheyev, but those two guys have kind of led the way, right? And again, I know Pettersson's the one that obviously leads the way as the center on that line, and as Mikheyev himself said, the brain, but I think Mikheyev needed some love there.
No, and I think that's the thing. If you got two forwards that are like strong defensive forwards, that's all you need on a line, right? Especially a top 6 line. You have 2 guys you can really trust in your own zone. You're feeling good about how much possession you're going to have, and that's what that trio is doing right there, playing good together.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Betway wrap up. Get to it. Let's go.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. All these Oily boys that come at me and they say, blah, 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 blah. Why all this talk about Broberg? You don't like Broberg. Our prospects are the best in the world. Here's the thing. I got a good bet for all these Oily boys here. The Oilers, I got them to win tonight against the Florida Panthers, and the over in that one. I got them outright winning, over 5.5 total goals, money in the bank, plus 225 on that if you take the Oilers winning tonight. They're going to hit the over at 5.5. The Panthers have, they've crushed the over at 5.5. The last 7 games, they've hit the over. The Oilers, they hit the over all the time because they get scored on a ton, and they score a ton of goals. And here's the thing. Connor McDavid, how many games has he gone without a goal?
More than Bo Horvat.
More than Bo Horvat, exactly. He's gone 3 games without a goal. Connor McDavid has. What happened last time Connor McDavid went 3 games without a goal, Quad?
He scored 2.
Scored 3 goals. And this last time he went with 3 games without a goal earlier this season. So I'm saying I got the Connor McDavid to score 2 or more goals tonight at plus 450, and the little sprinkle on him getting a hat trick tonight at plus 2,500. So those are Betway bets of the day. Got 3 today. They don't pay me extra for 3 bets, but they should. So Betway.
All right.
Betway. People set the over on me saying Betway 9.5. I must hammer the over on that every time. Betway.
Okay. We'll wrap it up there.
No, I wanted to ask one more thing about one thing. Alex, you can pull this up here. I got this in the intro. Have you noticed the worldwide listeners that we have, Quads? Have you ever looked at this? You don't do that. You don't do any work. If you show up here and you just talk into the mic, I do all the work behind the scenes here. The worldwide listeners, Mr. Worldwide, they could call us here, or Mr. Worldwides. Anyways, both of us, worldwide listeners. We got listeners all around the world. I just wanted to thank everyone. I was looking at the podcast. You know that, like, Australia, what do we got here? 2.17% of our listeners coming from Australia. You know that? 2% of our listeners.
I didn't know that. I have cousins in Australia.
That's 1 out of every 50 listeners of this show.
I don't think it's my cousins.
It's not your cousins. No, it's the Australia.
Well, my cousins 2%. Live in Australia.
Yeah, whatever. But 7% of people from United States as well. Shout out to the people down in the States. I hope you had a nice weekend. 0.3% of our listeners from Japan, as well as New Zealand, Taiwan, Germany. If you're listening to this, we appreciate it. And this is over the last, I looked over the last week, as well as Sweden. I know the Swedish people listen to the show. They love the Philip Johansson updates. I give you those. They love that. I know that. I love the Swedish people too. That's good. My next language I'm going to learn is Swedish.
I like it.
Yeah. How many languages do you speak, Quads? Any?
Well, English.
Right.
Pretty well. And I know very little French. I know very little Spanish, and I know very little Italian. But I can understand all 3 basically. To some extent.
You know what I hate when people say that when you're like, oh, I speak another language, they're like, hey, say this or say something in Italian. Like,
yeah, totally.
When people like say something in French.
If you yelled at me to say something in English, I'd be like, I'd have 2 words for you, but I don't know those 2 words in some of the other languages, except I do in Italian. Okay. Anyways, we're going to,
I never learned the swear words in French. I learned French in school. So I never learned the swear words.
Can we swear on YouTube with
No. We got the kids are on here too. You can't.
I know. I'm not gonna.
You're always trying to get the swear words out of me.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that. I know that's what you do on the Patreon.
Yeah.
You say shoot the bleep on the Patreon. I said, okay.
Okay. We'll close it out there.
Wrap it up.
Go get your EP40 shirts, folks. Nationgear.ca.
There we go. A couple people in the chat too. Dan from Sweden, I believe that is, and Lisa from the United States. We know
Fantastic,
Lisa, of course. But Lisa's barely that. She's just you could throw a rock down and tell Lisa look out. She's just down
she's down the I-5.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll close it out there. For my co-host Chris Faber, who wore a fantastic shirt on today's episode, and our technical producer Alex Allard, I'm not sure what he's wearing.
He's pissed.
My name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Shout out Sweden. What the hell's going on here?
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?